5 or 10 minutes, we're actually going to get feedback from all of the stalls on what you've been thinking. But to try and put tonight in a bit of context, to try and put tonight in a bit of context, I'm going to look back briefly on sort of where we come from, because a lot of people have asked questions as to what about all the plans that we saw sort of five or so years ago, and then look forward to give you a sense of what the community planning process is going to look and feel like over the coming months. Those of you that have dipped into the High Street design stall over in the corner, which Chris Richards has been looking after this evening, will probably have taken a look at the proposals that came forward in 2000 from Brentford Town Centre Limited. Pretty much in parallel with those plans that many people would have looked at the time, there was work commissioned by English Heritage from an organisation called Kim Wilkie, who came up with some alternative proposals and perspectives. Over the past 4 or so years, there's been a lot of work going on with respect to the Brentford Area Action Plan. You probably remember huge surveys arriving on your doormat that took hours to fill out. That was all towards the Brentford Area Action Plan, which is going to be published in the next few months. And then we've also had reports looking specifically at the local economy. Donald Donaldson's Town Centre survey back in '95. There was a transport study in 1998. And I'm sure those that have been councillors for longer than I can remember numerous other reports over the top of that. So huge amounts of research has been undertaken looking at different aspects of the High Street and indeed Brentford. And over the past few years we've seen huge amounts of development take place, but of course frustratingly no action on the High Street. Well, last year we of course had a change of administration. It was one part of the emerging opportunity to take a fresh look at where things were at. In October we formed a steering group with many different stakeholders from across the community represented, as well as councillors from all of the active local political parties. We agreed a sort of broad goal that we wanted to see a high street that's regenerated in an economically, socially and environmentally sustainable manner, a beacon for communities elsewhere. And at the same time we initiated the first project of the group, the project that's starting tonight, a community planning project with the purpose of establishing a clearly defined expression of the local community's vision for the future of Brentford High Street. Now I said the change of administration was one part of the equation. The other was, I suppose, looking further afield at what's being done elsewhere with respect to community planning. And we see an opportunity developing a new vision to actually learn an awful lot more about the community and the local economy and what might be possible. We realised that as new developers, whoever they might be, however many of them there are over time, engage with Brentford, but by having a front foot, no longer would the developers be imposing their ideas on us. We would say, look, this is what we want to have achieved. There's a huge expertise and ideas now local coming out all around us tonight, and it seems to make an eminent sense that we should draw upon that knowledge and ensure that it was applied in any designs. I mentioned the Brentford Area Action Plan. That's going to be finalised in the next few months, and we hope that some of the ideas that come out of the process will influence that. And finally, I think the message that's been repeated a few times already tonight, we wanted to catalyse regeneration rather than development light. I think the final part of the environment of this new project, timely. Summer of last year, a huge amount of the land, which had been in the ownership of Brentford Town Limited, who put forward the plans in 2000, changed hands to a company called Geronimo Limited. Geronimo is owned by a number of different organisations, but primarily a development company called Ballymore and also Woodwolf Group. Over the past 6 months, Ballymore has essentially been consolidating land. It's on the south side of the High Street. It's a huge project, consolidating it all to a point where a large developer is going to make anything happen. And whilst we can speculate all night as to why things didn't happen 5 or so years ago, I think one of the major problems was the lack of consolidation. So these new developers, Geronimo, backed by Ballymore, have done an awful lot in that respect over the past 6 months. And in fact, if you visit the project website, brentfordhighstreet.co.uk, you'll find a lot of the research that Nigel Moore's been undertaking through the land registry. It's available on the website, which actually shows how the ownership is now made up. So that was the changing scene and why it seemed to make sense to the steering group that we should start this community planning process.